question. If I could only focus on one thing, praying for divine love or truth, loving God, developing faith, which one should I focus on? That was, is it Eric? Yep. So let's get the mic to Eric. Why would you only want to focus on one thing?
I like to simplify my life.
Yeah, but that is like one thing when there's a lot of things that are good. It wouldn't make sense.
I remember like the Bible quote. I think Matthew 6:33.
Yeah.
If you only focus on God and His righteousness, everything will come to
but
you.
Focusing on God isn't one thing. God's an infinite being. There's a lot of parts to God. If you focus on God, it won't be just one thing.
I thought like God is one thing, like it's one singular monotheism. Like so, I thought it was like one.
Well, there's one God you're focusing on, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that, you know, when you're talking about things, not God, there's a lot of things I would focus on, not just one.
Yeah. So there's not one single like God is one. I could
Be
only
humble.
focus.
Be humble.
Sorry, yeah.
Just feel what I just said.
Yeah.
You're
I feel
already
like overwhelmed. Like I don't want to feel the complexity of it.
Yeah.
correct. See, as soon as you're starting to be humble, you go, there's a lot of things I could be focusing on. Now I feel overwhelmed. I don't want to feel overwhelmed, so tell me one thing. You see the motivation for the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So be humble first. When you look at your questions, be humble. And then when you're humble, you will see, there's my emotion. The emotion I'm trying to avoid is overwhelm.
It's all right. WH. Yeah.
It's overwhelmed. That's the emotion I'm trying to avoid, isn't it? So it's interesting. When I'm humble, I start to feel my motivation for asking the question. And because my motivation is impure, any answer somebody provides, you're going to start filtering out through the impurity of the thing you're trying to avoid. You understand?
Yeah.
This is a very important thing to learn. So this emotion needs to be felt. And for many people, particularly many people who have had everything sort of provided to them, so in particular people in Western society have a lot provided to them. Like I know of people in the third world, they're 25 years age, which is, what age are you?
26, yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to your age, right? That they have 18 people to care for. They've got a wife, children, extended family, uncles, aunts, everything, all living in their home. One home, no walls, no dirt floor, and they've got to provide for 18 people and they're 25 years old. Almost everybody in the West never experiences that when they're 25 years old. When I was 25 years old, I had 2 children. But even that's quite unusual nowadays, isn't it? Usually having children is in your 30s or something like that nowadays. Right? And so we don't realise it, but we are really quite, what I would classify as, I don't know, shall we be blunt and just call it weak? In the sense that we're weak-charactered. We're used to having everything put on our plate, and so when two things are when two things are demanded from our plate, we go, I'm overwhelmed now. I can't decide which one I should give, or those kind of things. So we get overwhelmed in Western society. We get overwhelmed very easily, and in particular, we get overwhelmed with having to feel some emotion. Right? Now, that is not being humble. And then what happens is the lack of humility causes us to ask the question, thank you, to ask questions that support our lack of humility. So in other words, how can I avoid being overwhelmed? Just give me one thing to do. But I don't want to give you one thing to do. I want to give you at least 5 things to do. Does that make sense? What are those 5 things I want to give you to do?
It's faith.
First one is
humility. Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to be humble. I want you to develop humility.
Yeah, and then faith.
I need some faith, so I want you to start having faith in your spiritual self, your soul, your life, your God. God's laws, God's love. Start developing faith in all of these different areas. Now, faith also is things like passion for your future. What do you want? What kind of direction you want for your future? Remember, that's what faith is motivating you towards. So we're talking about qualities like desire as well in there, in the issue of faith. Every one of these qualities have sub-points, right? Faith has desire, passion, longing, future consideration. You know, there's so many aspects to faith. So faith, what's the next one?
Love.
Well, before then...
Truth.
Yeah, truth. Because you need to have some truth to see that even love is possible, right? So truth has a lot of sub-aspects too. It's like honesty, transparency, openness, emotional openness, being yourself around people, but also being truthful with them. Like if someone asks you a question, you go, well, they're not going to like my answer, but this is my answer. So I tell. That's all an aspect of truth. Develop some truth, yeah? Now it's
love.
Possibility of love. Like, do I want to love other people, and do I want to love myself? Do I want to learn what love of other people looks like and how it's properly exercised from God's perspective? Or do I just want to do what is the injured version of love, which is, the injured version is addiction. For a lot of people on earth, love equals addiction. Love equals, like, I want something, I'm addicted to something, loving me means I get it. So if you ask an alcoholic what he wants, he's going to say, more alcohol. He thinks you're loving him, giving him more alcohol. You give him food, oh, what do I want that for? I want alcohol. So when you give him food, he thinks you're not loving him. In fact, I've had a man who I gave food to, he asked me for money, and instead of giving money, I gave him some food. And he threw it at me. So you know what I mean? He was being loved, but he didn't want love, right? He wanted addiction. Okay? What else? Action. Taking action about all those things. Yep. So most of us in that process will start feeling overwhelmed at all different times. We go, oh, there's this to do with, oh, there's that to do with, oh, no, there's that to do with too. And oh, there's my sin as well. Oh, God. And feel it. Be humble.
You said one word that really hit me. It was the word weak.
Yep.
And I feel very weak. I think you can see it in my body, like it's my emotion.
Yes, we in Western society, we are particularly emotionally and spiritually weak. We don't have much character. And what I mean by character is we don't have much moral fortitude. We don't go, wow, these things are good, so I should be doing them. We go, give me one of them to do, because doing 5 of them is too much. And that's because in our childhoods we've been taught you only need to do a little bit, just enough to pass or just enough to get an A or just enough, not be passionate about it. Just do enough to get you through life. And in a lot of times we've been there's a term, isn't there? Mollycoddled. I don't know if that's a term. How do you put that?
How do you say that in German?
What's
Mollycoddled. When you
when somebody's nursed you and babied you and
Betüttelt.
what was that? So say that in the mic for me.
Verhätschelt.
Verhätschelt.
Shred.
Yeah. So mollycoddled and nursed and
You're
babied.
okay, darling. Don't worry.
And so
it's too hard, and
we grow up being an adult, but we're still really a child who wants that. And that's where the emotional overwhelm feeling comes from. Yeah. I sort of, in my Mary's life, it's a busy life. Trust me. It's like, a lot of people think we've had a rest for 5 years before we came, right? And it's not like that at all. It's like we are working flat out 12 hours a day for the most part, right? And we have to, because of the lack of love of self, we have to teach ourselves to get rest. That's how busy we are, and get in terms of doing things, getting things done, in being productive in life. That's you will come to enjoy that. You will come to enjoy being involved in this and involved in that, and enjoy the productivity of your life. Doing things in particular to benefit others will make you feel more proud of yourself. Yeah,
it's like the overwhelm. you sort of need to go through the overwhelm to realize your full potential. At the moment, when we're weak in character, we think, oh, I couldn't possibly, or I can't, you know. But the more you let yourself have desire and be overwhelmed, then you realize, oh, I can do this and more, you know, if I just keep letting myself be overwhelmed. Yeah.
The bigger your emotional capacity, remember yesterday we said God wants to stretch your emotional capacity. The bigger your emotional capacity, the more you can handle. For many of us on earth, we have very small, tiny emotional capacity. There's this, you think of your soul, what's happened is it's shriveled up and dried up and dried up and shriveled up to the point where it's so tiny that you can barely handle anything, right? In fact, a lot of people, when they pass in the spirit world, say their soul has died. That's how dried up it has become. So what happens, though, is if the more you get stretched, the more of love you receive, in particular from God, the more you get stretched emotionally, the more you deal with your own emotions, the more you're capable of dealing with more emotion, you become, your emotional capacity expands. You can handle more things. That's a good thing. You'll end up with a lot of confidence in yourself, being able to handle anything. And that's a good thing.
So true strength is to be willing to be overwhelmed and to embody the 5 things.
Correct.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very strong.
That make you strong.